There is a question many people are afraid to ask out loud, yet it quietly weighs on their hearts every single day. Why do I keep falling into the same sin, even when I know better, even when I genuinely want to change, and even after I have prayed about it so many times? It can feel like a cycle you cannot escape. You make a decision to do better, you feel strong for a while, and then suddenly you find yourself right back in the same place. The same mistake, the same regret, and the same promise to never do it again. Over time, this pattern can begin to affect how you see yourself. You may start to wonder if real change is even possible, or if something is fundamentally wrong with you. The truth is, this struggle is not new, and it is not unique to you. Even in the Bible, we see people who experience the same internal battle. In fact, one of the most honest confessions comes from Paul in Romans 7:15, where he says, "I do not understand what I do. For what I want to do, I do not do, but what I hate, I do." This is a powerful admission. It shows that the struggle between desire and discipline is something deeply human. This reveals the first important truth. The battle is not just external, it is internal. There is a conflict between what you know is right and what your flesh desires. Ignoring this reality can keep you trapped, but understanding it gives you clarity. You are not simply weak, you are in a real battle within yourself. When we look at the story of Samson, we see a clear example of repeated failure. Samson was chosen, gifted with extraordinary strength and set apart for a purpose. Yet despite his calling, he repeatedly made the same kind of decisions that led him into trouble. In Judges 16, we see his relationship with Delilah, a situation that did not happen suddenly. It was a pattern. He kept getting close to what was dangerous, thinking he could handle it until eventually it cost him everything. Samson's story is not just about one mistake, it is about a pattern of choices. This is where many people can relate. The issue is often not a single fall, but a repeated cycle. The environment, the habits, and the compromises all play a role. If nothing changes around you, it becomes very difficult for anything to change within you. Think about your own life for a moment. Are there situations, places, or even people that make it easier for you to fall into the same behavior? Awareness is the first step toward breaking the cycle. Another powerful example is King David. David was described as a man after God's own heart, yet he fell into serious sin with Bathsheba. In 2 Samuel 11, we see that his failure did not begin with the act itself. It began with a moment of idleness, when he was not where he was supposed to be. That small shift created an opening, and one decision led to another. This shows us that sin often starts long before the visible action. It begins in the mind, in moments of compromise, and in small choices that seem insignificant at the time. By the time it becomes obvious, the process has already been in motion. So the question becomes, how do you break a cycle that feels so deeply rooted? The answer begins with understanding that willpower alone is not enough. If it were, you would have already overcome it. Real change requires a deeper transformation. In 2 Corinthians 10:5, we are told to take captive every thought and make it obedient. This points directly to the mind. What you allow to stay in your thoughts will eventually influence your actions. If you keep feeding the same thoughts, entertaining the same desires, and exposing yourself to the same triggers, the outcome will not change. Breaking the cycle requires intentional disruption. It means changing what you watch, what you listen to, and what you allow into your space. At the same time, it is important to understand grace correctly. Some people fall into the trap of thinking that because God forgives, the cycle is not serious. Others fall into the opposite trap of believing that because they keep failing, God must be tired of them. Both perspectives are incomplete. Grace is not permission to stay the same, and it is not withdrawn because of your struggle. Grace is the power that enables transformation. In 1 John 1:9, we are reminded that if we confess our sins, God is faithful and just to forgive and to cleanse. That cleansing is not just about removing guilt, but about restoring you so you can move forward differently. Breaking free also requires accountability. Many struggles grow stronger in isolation. When no one knows what you are dealing with, it becomes easier to hide and repeat the same behavior. Bringing it into the light, even with one trusted person, can weaken its hold. Consider this honestly. Are you fighting this battle alone when you were never meant to? Finally, it is important to accept that change is a process. Freedom does not always happen instantly. Sometimes it is gradual, requiring consistent effort, patience, and reliance on God. There may be setbacks along the way, but a setback is not the same as defeat. The real danger is not falling. It is staying in the cycle without taking steps to change it. When you step back and look at everything, it becomes clear that this is not just about behavior. It is about patterns, environments, thoughts, and choices. It is about understanding the deeper roots of what keeps pulling you back. So take a moment to reflect. What is the pattern in your life that keeps repeating? What triggers it? What have you been ignoring that needs to change? Real freedom begins with honest reflection, followed by intentional action. If this message speaks to you, do not brush it aside. Take it seriously. Reflect on it, pray about it, and begin to make small but meaningful changes. Share this with someone who might be going through the same struggle and continue this journey of growth. Because while the cycle may feel strong, it is not unbreakable. Change is possible, and with the right steps, you can move from repeating the same mistake to living in real freedom.